welcome back. Welcome back. Hello, thank y'all for joining. All right, we'll just give it a few more seconds, about 10 seconds. Everyone will be back with us. Then we'll get started with our panel. All right. I believe everyone should be back from the breakout rooms.
Okay, awesome. Well, we will, I guess we'll go ahead and start with the panel. I'll pass it over to Hannah, and she'll lead the panel off with the first question.
All right. Okay, so the first person that we're going to talk to is Chris. So Chris, what has your social media journey been like? How did it start and how has it progressed?
My social media journey started, I want to say back in 2017. I had a conversation with my oldest brother about how could we get our word out, get the things that we're doing at our farm. I am a third generation Black Angus cattle farmer. And basically what we're trying to do is help the farm get that reach that we're trying to do. I mean, we do plenty. We do our own hay, and I'll speak later on about another business that I made, and as well as what we do in farming. So the social media to me is getting on. My main thing is Instagram. I love Instagram. I don't have anything against Facebook, even though I think Facebook owns Instagram. But the platform of Instagram just gels well with me. It lets me do my pictures, videos, meet other people a lot easier without all the Facebook stuff. And seem like Facebook sometimes feels like high school all over again. But I really do like Instagram. It's a lot easier. And also YouTube. So my platforms are Instagram and YouTube. And my following has really, really grown and has allowed me to meet a lot of the panelists that we have on here. I follow you guys on Instagram. So it's social media to me is that hidden gem that if you can hone in on what your target market is, if you're growing vegetables, get to a vegetable group of some sort, find those people, meet with those folks, and it just grows and grows. I started doing that in 17. I would put my first video up, I think like in 18. So it's just a constant thing that's how I'm trying to grow myself. So social media is lovely to me. So that's my journey. I started that, and it's progressed into something that I'm speaking to people in other countries, and they're knowing who I am and following me. So it extends well beyond any commercial you can buy on TV that's only local. So social media is worldwide.
Thank you. Charlie, did you want to share your social media journey?
Yes. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Sure. I guess my journey goes back a little further to when there's pretty much only Facebook around, and we started there when we started the farm about 10 years ago now. And then, so when Instagram became popular, we started using that, and ultimately now just post exclusively on Instagram with the automatic sharing to Facebook. So that's made life easier there. But I would agree with Chris. You know, it's been great for the sharing aspect with other farmers and just seeing what they're doing, getting ideas, having community support. So a lot of it's about that. And then, of course, we're trying to sell our product using Instagram and promote ourselves and tell our story. But eventually that's graduated to doing some paid advertising, which I was just saying in the private group is, I think a lot of those ads actually get more traction and more placement on Facebook. But since they're owned by the same people, the advertising kind of works across platforms. So that's kind of where we are now. We're still figuring that out. How to, you know, that's always changing. So we're trying to figure it out and use it properly.
All right, thank you, Charlie. So the next person that we're going to talk to is Briar. So Briar, would you mind just kind of telling us a little bit about your social media journey?
Yes, so social media for me started, I'm originally from Mississippi, very rural town called Shuqualak, Mississippi. So there are a lot of farmers. I grew up around, well, my family are cattle farmers currently, but my grandmother was a farmer, mostly produce and sugar cane. And then my mom and her siblings did a little bit of farming. So if I were to, once I'm able to be in a farming space of my own, I would, I guess, be considered a fourth generation farmer at that point. But yeah, for me, the social media journey started in news once I was able to graduate. My undergrad is in communications, broadcast journalism. So I worked at WDAM for a little while, and I did some digital content media work. And now I'm currently serving as communications and outreach specialist for the Federation of Southern Cooperatives, a land assistance fund, and we support small Black farmers, landowners, and co-ops. So we support in land retention and advocacy as well. And I'm currently managing that social media page. We use Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So we're more on the end of, or my work is supporting farmers and really showing the back end of that work. So it's not necessarily marketing produce or anything as a farmer would utilize social media platforms for, but it's really promoting the work and advocacy behind it. So I'm really excited to share more as we continue to talk in the forum.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to pass it to Olivia. She's going to ask the next round of questions.
Thank you so much, everyone. I love hearing about your stories. So really how we're wanting to frame this session is to be really approachable and practical when it comes to social media for small business owners and farmers. We know how important it is to really use social media as a way to tell your story, but then also to reach and engage with your audience. And we want to do that. We want to start with like maybe some simpler like storytelling and examples with this part of the panel. So panelists, if you don't mind, I'm going to start with Charlie. Can you share an example of a really solid social media post, like something that, you know, you've either had really great engagement on, and if this is one of your ads, you can also show that. Just anything that you've had a really great performance on as far as a social media post, either on Facebook or on Instagram. And I believe you could share your screen if you want, or if you have screenshots, you can drop them in the chat.
Let's see, I can do it either way. I did put, I think the second slideshow I sent you might be relevant to that, or that could be, actually that might be for later because that has kind of how I picked out the post. I could just share my Instagram right now and look at it real quick.
That would be ideal. Yeah, thank you.
Let's see if I can find my Instagram. All right, it's coming up in a second, but I would say more than a specific post, I kind of have a general rule of what does well and what doesn't that I can just know. And I should say we have it kind of easy because we're a flower farm, and it just lends itself very well to pictures, taking pictures of flowers. And then over the past 5 years, our farming story has been a lot about having kids and kids on the farm. So pictures of flowers do great, pictures of kids do great, and the best of all is pictures with flowers and kids in them.
That sounds like a really great combination. Have you been able to show or been able to see like an increase of engagement based on like the intentionality of your social media posts? Like if you spend a lot of time thinking of how to construct it, does that kind of end up putting more emphasis on how it performs? Like, does it actually end up performing better, or do you kind of just go based on your gut and you share for your story first, and then do you see like any kind of correlation between the two?
I at this point try not to overthink it because as important as it is, I just find that I am always low on time, and I'm just Instagramming whenever I can, and I try not to slow myself down. If there's any, if I find myself trying to figure out the right post and then I end up running out of time and not posting, it's better for me to just, look through my pictures at the end of the day, see if I got any good ones, and just post something. Sorry, I'm trying to.
If you can't find a specific picture, that's totally fine. If you want, which would be really great for you, you're more than welcome to drop a link to your farm's Instagram in the chat. And that way people can actually look through all of your feed and see all of these incredible photos of flowers and happy children. Like that's really great. So yeah, feel free to drop your handle in the chat.
And Charlie, I do have that those slideshows for later on, so we can show them off then too.
Okay, great.
Awesome. All right. Well, we can pop over to Briar, and since we do have a later screen sharing portion as well. So Briar, can you share an example of a really solid social media post? Either like if you have one that you want to screen share, you can, or if you just want to talk about how you structure a social media post that ends up being very high performing.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. I don't know if you all can see it.
Yes, we can.
So good. Okay. So this is fairly recent, but this is just the organization that I'm working on behalf of, the Federation. And so we've been trying a few different strategies when it comes to posting. And to be honest, when it's really small teams of folk, it's just myself and my communications director. You have very little time to really plan for content, but we've been really trying to strike gold with planning. And so this photo was taken. I went to one of our members down the street, Mr. Bobby Wilson of Metro Atlanta Urban Farm, and just took some photos of him for a partnership that we were doing with Farm Aid and Good Morning America. But it ended up, I was like, this is really nice just for our like social media content. And so I posted it, and I thought it was really interesting to see the reaction. And we kind of learned that we should lean a little bit more into community engagement and really being serious about sort of community-driven posts to show people why they maybe should be interested in this level of community work. And so
Briar,
we were able to.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Could you
Yeah.
expand a little bit on like the community? What was the phrase you just said?
Community work?
Community interest, is that what you said?
Community engagement?
Engagement, yeah. Could you give us like a short little definition of what you define community engagement as?
Sure. So community engagement to me is taking, I guess, given the backstory of what you do as a small business or as a nonprofit, and really inviting, I guess, your followers and or customers and members to really join the journey. And so that means maybe posting a little bit about the mission or the why behind it. And so you're kind of driving those more community engagement oriented posts or content. So I think that may have answered your question. That's a really great question, but
it did. Please continue. Yeah.
No. Okay, so for example, this one, what was the caption? Okay, so just simply stating Bobby Wilson said that this is why he farms. So really literally giving the why behind it, I think has been proven to be successful for nonprofits like ours.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love hearing about engaging with the community and telling the why. I think social media, maybe not in its infancy, but I think in a lot of its intention ends up being a modality for storytelling. And so thank you for being transparent and sharing that story.
Of course.
Chris, we'll jump over to you. Do you have an example of a really of a great high performing social media post?
Yes, and it's funny because as my intro, where I was talking about, we're cattle farmers, but my second hat or third, fourth, fifth hat I have on is I have a bird and nature tour business that I started. And so I also had to make another Instagram for that and also another YouTube channel for that. So as I'm making, or is my thought process when I'm doing my, okay, I need to post something. And I do this randomly. There's not certain times that I post. Like I said, most of the time the phone is in our hands. We're watching TV or something and I'm working on something. So first I like to try to get everybody to think more social media, and that way it'll become a little more habit, a better habit for us. So I'm going to share my screen and then I'm going to kind of give you a background on what I'm doing. Okay, so we're sharing. All right. So this is my main Instagram. And when I first started it, like I said, I can remember now I barely had like 11 people. And I'm like, how are these folks going to find out about me? And what I started to do was, as I I moonlight as a photographer too. So what I like people to if we're taking notes or just mental notes, the picture quality has to be good. I think picture quality and recording audio quality has to be good in order to hold a person's attention. To the left, that's my intro Instagram front page. So you see my followers, and also in your bio, put links to your things that you have. So I have a YouTube channel on this one, and that will take you straight to my YouTube channel. That also drives traffic. So you're trying to work on traffic, you're trying to work on engagement, and as man, names are slipping me. Blair said, tell a story.
Right.
The story is going to lead more people to you. So on the right side, you see where reach, I think that's the categories is reach. It's not per se likes. I want to see how many people I'm reaching. So that reach is going to show you where those avenues of folks that, okay, well, this category of people started to find me. This how they find me. What was important about, and I'll just take that one with the four, this one right here. So the 4,315 reach, and that was just a picture of me. Matter of fact, I just got done planning food plots. I think we were doing food plots that day. So, and that's a T-shirt that some on a neighbor gave me, "Make Farming Great Again." And basically, in my narrative or in my write-up, I put something of what we're doing. So, like I say, tell a story. If a person just meets you off the street, oh man, what are you doing? I'm doing this. So, hey, we just got done planning a food plot. Be a little descriptive. The food plot entailed wheat, rye, crimson clover, and it took us 3 hours. And that right there is a story unto itself, because people are like, whoa, well, why would you plant crimson clover? Oh, well, it's important to pollinator habitat. It's important for deer, turkey. So the farming, you have to think a little more in depth about what you're posting and why you're posting it. So I took that picture, and hashtags are your friend. You put, I think Instagram allows 30 hashtags. And like I said, I write. If you do not keep a journal, please try to get a journal of some sort and start writing down some of this stuff. Like, okay, well, this post had 4,000. What was about that post? And then you can go back and look at, okay, I had hashtags on there with farming or a certain term that I used. So this is one of the methods that I like to use in order that shows me, okay, how can I recreate that? And like you're saying, like in a lot of my pictures, in videos also, take some time, try to see, okay, how can I record myself? I'm just the only person working on the farm. All those pictures you see and things like that, I took myself. So there are self timers. Every phone about has a self timer. So yeah, it's kind of weird, setting it down, getting back in the right position, that kind of thing. But that's what I do for that one. And this is my birding, and that's the name of my business, Connecting with Birds and Nature Tours. And this top 8,273. I'm not certain if you guys remember, but the birding incident with the gentleman Christian Cooper that was in New York, where a lady called the police on him. And I was a part of that panel that we had, I want to say last month, but it's on replay. If anybody wants to listen to that whole Zoom, we could. But the Black Birders Week, that really drove my people to me, in droves. So I went from barely 800 to now I'm at 2,805. So you have to find out what is that trigger point for a lot of people. And I think that once you find that, take good pictures, make sure your quality is good, and post. You have to post, and you can make templates, write up something that's easily, if you're going to be going into harvest time, write something that's easy that you can just copy and paste it. And that way that portion of it, you'll take some of that work out of it. So just find easy ways to manage what you're doing is helpful. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to show. Yeah. Oh yeah, and this is my YouTube channel. So if you look at the flow, like how is it flowing? What's my lead up? Excuse me. What's my lead up to when people click on my things? What are they going to see? Are they going to just see something that's thrown together? Like that picture right here with the leaf. That was just the other morning. I had my HD camera with me, and I just took a picture of a leaf that's stuck in the ground a certain way, and that has a lot of input and traffic going to that one. So you have to find out, what do you want people to see? And this is a collage of pictures that I took, but I wanted to make it like a highlight video. So if you're farming and you've been doing a season, try to do a highlight video. Think in commercial terms. Most of my videos are no longer than 3 minutes. So try to keep things going. And this is the birding channel. So I did a virtual tour. I had a drone. I did some drone shots, and like I said, all these pictures on here I took myself. From the background of that, all that little doe that came out on me in a field I was walking in, and just try to make things simple. And if you can start recreating how to do that over and over, your following will grow, and then people engagement, and then they'll want to find more about you. And then that's when you can start saying, okay, well, I have something to sell, and then they'll start purchasing from you. So build up the following. The following comes first. It's not start, sell. My gap was I didn't start booking like tours, I don't know, 50 people a tour every weekend. That came almost a year later. So I have a trickle effect, but now it's like when I say, hey, we're having a tour, I can bet 50 to 70 people. So that's pretty much where I'm headed. So hopefully I can continue to answer any other questions that y'all have.
Thank you so much, Chris. I want to touch on one thing that you said because it just has stuck in my head. You said that you want to structure like your narrative of a post, or like your caption of the post, as if someone just came up to you on the street and they asked what you were doing, and that's how you would respond. You would tell them, and I think that's one of the really important things about social media, is that you basically are just talking to strangers on the street, and you have to convey your creativity and your authenticity in everything that you do, kind of concisely like you would talk to a stranger. And so I think that one little nugget was really great. So
that's the main thing when people ask me, that when they watch the videos, they say it feels like I'm right beside you on the farm. It feels like I'm tagging the cows with you. I feel like we're herding, and I literally have the camera in my hand while I'm shooing the cows. And it's just making people feel like they're with you. It's more homely, and not you're trying to talk to a whole audience.
I love that. That's so necessary. And I think it's really important in being authentic too. So since I just asked the panelists to show, a post that did really well, I'm going to actually ask the converse. Can you show us or talk about an example of a post that maybe didn't perform as well as you had hoped or that you had thought? And what would you do now to improve that post? I will start with Briar.
Yeah, so I guess you can say starting out, there were many, many things to learn about social media in general. But I think, in my opinion, a low performing post, I think at first we were trying to post different articles from other sources. And just to kind of piggyback off of what Chris was saying, that's very impersonal. And so, of course, that was low performing, maybe only 10 likes. And it really wasn't tailored to ours. It wasn't community specific. And, that was very early on, trying to understand our audience and how we want to engage with them. And so I would recommend, I'm going to talk about this a little later, so I'm trying not to give it all now, but I would recommend doing a little bit of research to see kind of what your followers appreciate and what they engage with and interact with. So if that's not just posting screenshots of articles that may talk about something you want to talk about, but maybe how can you make that more community specific to your audience? Yeah, mute.
Sorry. All these muting and unmuting. Okay, thank you so much, Briar. We're going to hop right back to Chris. Can you tell us a little bit about, about a low performing post?
And like I said, a lot of this stuff is trial and error, and you can find out pretty easy. It's like, dang, I posted something that's supposed to have been took off because I did this, and that. And like what Blair was saying, sometimes it's what are you doing in that picture? It's like I can go and take a picture of a blade of grass, but it's just boom, a blade of grass, and boom, that's it. It's like there's no context to what that blade of grass. Either you can even put a blade of grass, but that low performing is boom. I posted, hey, here's a picture. I didn't even write anything. So let's just say you take a picture, and I'll just bring this back to farming since we're ag related. So we're out tagging cows. So I just take a picture of a tag and post it. It's like, okay, that's a tag that goes in a cow ear or whatever livestock ear, and it doesn't tell anything. That won't do anything. But if I say, okay, this is the tag, and in the background, I'm framing it to where I have the tag here, and then the calves are in the background or the cows in the background. Now I can write a story of, hey, it's time to get to work, or the importance, or if you really want to, you can explain why you're doing it. Hey, we're tagging cows today because tag is a form of identification that we can later come back and see the herd. Which cow did it come from? So number 3 is the calf of number 45. So that kind of thing it will make your post a lot stronger. So just posting something without prior thought, it never leads to the engagement that you want.
Great. Thank you so much. Charlie, can you talk a little bit about, even though I'm sure it's hard with flowers and beautiful children, what have you encountered, having a low performing post at all? And what you would do?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's kind of in general for me. I know what posts aren't going to do well, but I'm usually doing them anyways because they fit more with the usefulness of social media for sharing with other farmers. So I kind of have posts that are intended for our general audience or our customers, and then but I still feel compelled to make posts that are for other farmers, and those are the ones that are low performing. But let me try and share my screen again here, and just show you. Tell me if this works or not, but all right, can y'all see my Instagram?
Yes.
So just even in the first few posts, you have, here's an example of children and flowers, posted great, had lots of engagement. And then here's one I did the other day that's just a picture of how we covered everything for the cold. Not as many likes. And I'm just, at this point, I'm not really trying to get as many likes as possible. I'm not doing that much.
Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Could you verbally say how many, like the number of likes and comments on each post, just to verbally say the comparison?
So on this one, there were 218 likes and 9 comments. And on the one just showing the row cover and tunnels, there were 74 likes and 1 comment. But if you go down our page, you'll see it's like, especially during the season, sort of the end, it's not like start now, so I'm posting some other stuff, but usually it's all flowers for my kids. You know, and these have all done pretty well. It's kind of, but then, you know, then there'll be, well, that's pretty well because it's my 3-year-old helping me transplant right there. So, but if it was just a picture of transplants, it probably would not have done so well. But I might post it anyways because I'm trying to include more, you know, behind the scenes farming. I probably don't do enough of that. And I guess I should say there's also stories on Instagram, which is where a lot of that would go. You know, the main feed here is if I look at my phone, I got a really great picture that day. I might post it on the feed, but usually I'll look through my phone and just see, okay, what's interesting, what was something that I captured during the day that we were doing on the farm, and I'll post it in a story. And those, of course, go away in 24 hours, I think. So you kind of can let your guard on there a little bit and just, you know, just post it, whatever.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Okay. So now that we've kind of seen these great examples of, you know, high performing posts, we've heard your stories, and we've kind of learned how to identify and work around low performing posts. I'd like to kind of tiptoe into the weeds a little bit of social media, which is analytics, which are kind of like, I feel like their own world of knowledge, but they are so unbelievably necessary. So what I will invite anyone to do, let's start. Yeah, we can start with Chris if you have your screen sharing ability handy. Do you mind just kind of sharing the analytics specifically of okay, sorry, let me English this. How to read analytics, how to access analytics, and how to interpret that information and turn it into something usable for you as a business owner. So, Chris, can you start with that?
Yeah. Matter of fact, I pulled mine up correct now. Share screen. Back to my PowerPoint. All right, everybody see me. Let's maximize this. All right, so analytics to me really helps me focus on what I have to do in order to make certain things go. So I can hone in on analytics. And it's like I said, this is on Instagram, and you can find that if you're looking like on the phone. I don't know what it looks like on desktop. I hadn't been on there in a long time. But on your phone, there's like a far right corner where you can click on it and go to Insight. And then your Insight, you can click on Posts, and it will bring up some of the information as you see on the left. So we're going from left to right. So most of my people that engage with me comes from Birmingham. This is in Alabama. So I'm looking like, hey, there's a lot of people in Birmingham that are, you know, either my followers or people that are doing certain things are in Birmingham. The age range, it kind of tells me my age range. So this is information that I'll use later is, okay, every person that's coming is 25 to 34. So I wouldn't put aged specific things on there that would be like the latest TikTok craze. That's in a market that's I'm not looking to be in. That's not a strong suit of where my age range. Yeah, they may heard about it, but there's like, oh, I'm just gonna go to another person's thing, and then you lose people. So I want to hone in on what I'm doing in that age range in 25 to 34. Most of them are college age or out of college, early professional, full-time people, that kind of thing, and they're still active and young and wanting to find out a lot more. So that engagement that I have with my birding community, that these people are interested in finding out about birds, and also gender. What does that have on your thing? So I wouldn't post a whole lot of things related to being a man's man. I don't want to all of a sudden go into a straight bodybuilding quotes and pictures and sharing Arnold Schwarzenegger and uh heavy into sports, because it shows that my gender predominantly 75% women. So I'm tailoring things, and like what Mr. Charlie was saying, flowers. Some of my best photos are flowers and nature related. So we're going to come back to that, but I also wanted to bring up something when we were talking about cattle. Uh, this is, and I'm very specific. I don't know if anybody else is, but my brain only works a certain way.
Sorry,
So,
can I interrupt real
yes,
quick? I actually have a question, and just in case anyone else who's attending, if you have questions, drop them in the chat, and we'll real time ask the panelists as they're showing this. So I hear you talking about like analytics and how you can see how old people are who are looking at your posts
yes,
and where they are.
yes.
Is there like a certain amount of time that you're looking at? Like, are you looking at what a week did, what 2 weeks did,
Okay, you
what
can.
a month did?
Okay, I see what you're saying. So let's just say we're looking at the middle box now. My activity, and you can see the time that you're reaching back in finding. I think you can pull at least a year or two, and then take your highest. So that allows me, okay, what did I do within the last month, or how did that even work? Like last week, I had a busy week. Man, it was harvest time. I took a lot of pictures. I posted a lot of pictures. What is my engagement looking like? So from that Friday or whatever, that week, I reached 1,739 impressions. No, so all impressions is somebody hit that like button or hit the heart, and that's 9. So that's showing me, okay, that helped me, or I'm getting more impressions this week. What did I do this week that I didn't do 2 weeks ago? And now I have something to work on. It's like, okay, now I can string days together where my impressions or my reach is, I'm getting at a base level. And like this Sunday to Tuesday, I might not have posted anything at all, but Saturday was a high day that I did a lot of posts on, or the engagement was high. So let's just look at Wednesday and Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday, I probably did uh, outing where I did bird watching for a couple hours, took plenty of pictures. So now I'm posting 4 or 5 pictures at a time with different birds and different hashtags. And now those 2 days are looking about the same. Now my engagement is higher. And now let's go over to our audience. So we're looking at our audience, we're looking at activity. And now I'm seeing that this is where a lot of people, that it tells me kind of the folks that followed me, the folks that unfollowed, the overall in your growth. And like I said, going back to your top, so Birmingham. So now if I know that a lot of people from Birmingham, I can start saying different things that are related to Birmingham, whether the nightlife or whatever that's related to Birmingham, and they will get it. So you can make analytics work for you in that department. And get, like I said, real quick, going to when I was telling people about photo quality, getting something that makes a person say, wow, is going to help a whole lot. And I was just walking in the pasture, and one of our bulls was just sitting down, just hanging out, and I just, perfect picture. So bam, take your picture. Now when I post it, this was a high engagement photo, because now people are asking questions about, okay, how old is he? What's the age? What type breed? Now I'm engaging more people just off of this photo. That's, it's nothing major about it, but the quality is going to stop people when they're scrolling. They're going to stop and say, wow, that's pretty nice. And even whatever your content that you're, what you're doing, whether it's in like our hay pictures, or and I was catching my dad one day, and we just got through doing hey, so we're finished, and he was getting ready to turn back, and I just snapped a picture. So I can make this picture say 5,000 different things. I can talk a quote about life. How about having hardworking farming? And you can have one picture have as many legs as you want and take it to how many ever people. So please, if I can stress anything, try to make each post that you take have some type of where it can go in the direction. Just putting it there is not good enough. You have to make it have direction. So that post of dad on that tractor and that bull in that field can make the world of difference as to who reaches out to you. And next thing you know, you're talking to, hey, a person that reminded me of what I used to do back when I was a child. So those analytics really do tell paint a picture for you that you can start focusing and drilling down into those areas.
So we have a question for you, Chris. How much time would you say that you spend per month or maybe even per week to posting your content?
Let's just take today. So today's Saturday. I'm going to be constructing a chimney swift tower. It's for a particular bird. So I'm already thinking of pictures and videos I can take. So today, while I'm doing that, so while we're working, let's say it's 1:00, we'll probably start 2:00, go from about 2 to 4. So in that time frame that I'm actually working, I'm still getting content at the same time. So if I'm out doing cattle, I'm still setting up my camera and recording. So you're getting content on those days that you work. And I spoke with a gentleman in the breakout section of doing that. Try not to forget, we know that you're farming. We know that it's harvest time. It's something that has to get done, but please make an effort to get content. You can't tell a story without any content, and not be something that you just pulled off of somebody else. And I'm gonna put a farmer's picture up here and we'll talk about this. Make it speak to what you're doing. Like Miss Blair, she's working with the co-op, and I know them over in Epps. I go over there all the time. So I might have bumped into you at some point in time, but that's working with a lot of those farmers. And yeah, I'm getting on the tractor in the morning, but it's like, if they have somebody there that can document some of that stuff, to record some of that, then post it. Now it's personal. Oh, he just got up and he's doing. Now you're making that fit. So I'm spending, let's just say I got all the content while I was working. So there's not any extra time that I have to devote to anything because I'm catching it while I'm working. So those 3 hours that I'm doing today, I'll have content. So let's say tomorrow, or we get done working and got through eating a good meal. I'm sitting on my phone. Now I can go into editing. That's when it makes sense. And I'm not speaking on anything, but anybody with an iPhone or whatever, there's apps to where you can, and this is just, I don't know if anybody can see, but anyway, it's InShot is what I'm using. And I pull in all the things that I just did. And now let's say you watch a TV show that's 30 minutes. Well, that 30 minutes, I could make a whole video, or I can edit a picture to change like with that bull picture. I didn't have to do too much because, I'm pretty on the field, but making time that we have time in the day to devote to it. So if you say, well, I eat dinner at 6:00, I'm going to watch my TV show and commercials come on 30-minute window. It's actually 20 minutes maybe of an actual show. So now you have 10 minutes to do something. And I think a lot of us, just try to flip our head to, oh, Monday through Friday, I don't have time to sit down and do it. I'm doing it while I can sit here and do a video. That's the kind of ease that I like for everybody to get in their mind. Make it easy. Do not make this hard. Do not go purchase the latest software. All my stuff I'm using is free. Free video editing, free photo editing. Lightroom is another photo editing thing that you can use. So we're trying to be sustainable, and that's you can't be sustainable if you're spending all your profit all the time. So try to find easy ways to do it, and you can do it yourself. You can teach yourself this. YouTube is about the best thing since sliced bread. You can get on there and just type in how to make a video, and trust me, you'll find something pretty quick. So I just think that we don't look at it per se as how many hours we spend to doing it. It's what time that's a lull that I can spend 5 to 10 minutes doing something. And that's the way that I like it. And I think I might have paid for advertising. I saw a question come up on advertising. I think I paid one time for a week of keeping content or being advertised. Besides that, I haven't done it since, because I've gotten to the point to where I can do it and I can reach the same, and my tours are booked. I can book a tour for every Saturday, and the Saturdays are just when I do it, because I have a full-time job. So Saturdays are my tour days. So I don't have to do that anymore.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, Chris. So we had one more question that popped in before that budgeting one.
Let's
So
actually, sorry.
I guess it's
Sorry, we're just like a little short on time. Can we, since the question actually asks about advertising, Charlie, can you actually kind of do like your screen share? Because I know you really focus more on ads to drive your social media audience. So can you talk about that, and then talk a little bit about this question that was asked about advertising budgets and how that impacts how you can sell your farm products?
Yes. All right. So definitely you can do. I mean, that's really what this is all about: the social media, your presence, engaging your customers or your audience, and you can do a lot for free, and we have over the years. And I think this is an example of that, where we just, we'll make a post and kind of talk about what we're selling at the moment. And then a lot of times what I would do is, I might be doing those periodically, posting more specifically about something we're selling. And then if it gets good engagement, then I might consider advertising that post. Obviously, you can boost posts, just gets them more audience reach. It puts it on, make sure people see it. But what we've really moved towards lately, I guess go to this is probably good, this is one that actually wasn't ever a post. The picture was a post. That was the previous screen. And the picture itself got a lot of engagement and a lot of likes. But what I did is I took that and in Facebook ads, you can create ads for both Facebook and Instagram and all of their different places where they can show your ad. But what I've ended up doing is, so go back to the last screen, is I'm taking a picture that did well, and now I'm just giving it content that is more appropriate to what we're selling. So it has some information about the product, how it works, and then there's going to be a link to our website where people can actually shop for it. And so that's information I might not want on my feed. And you definitely, there's nothing really wrong with advertising on there. I don't think, you have something to sell, that's what you're doing. Feel free to post about that. But to me, that takes a lot of work. As Chris was saying, you can find a lot of free time to make posts, but I think at some point we should add that with Instagram and anything on your phone, there's also a question about balancing your work and your free time and your regular life. And I have kids now, and so I don't necessarily want to be on my phone when my children are trying to get my attention at the end of the day. So there's something to be said for, making time for advertising. It's a part of your business. It's an important part. And as Chris pointed out, when you're in the field, farming, it's something I've had to learn to do is value stopping and taking pictures of that. Remember to do that. When you're in the moment, say, hey, this is an interesting thing that's happening, or this is a good shot I could get right now of the bucket of flowers, even though what I'm doing is I'm harvesting as fast as I can, trying to get the flowers back to the cooler to keep them cool before the sun starts to wilt them. Still, I've got to say, if I get them back to the cooler and then nobody buys them, what's the point? So I've got to stop, take the picture, and value that part of the business, which is selling the product. And so the same thing when it comes to posting on social media. What I've found this year is that instead of constantly trying to drum up interest in a post for something I'm trying to sell, because as you know, even the ones we show you that did great, those do great for 1-2 days, and then they're history. Nobody's buying something from that post 2 days later. So then I've got to make another post to get it back in people's feed. And that's just really a lot of work compared to if you can find one that works, either a post or just create an ad. And then I go to the next screen. So I think this is my ads manager page where I've made a bunch of different ads over time, just trying to figure out how it works, how to, there's not enough time to go into this today, but, you're targeting audiences here. You're picking you could use a lot of what Chris just showed us, which I found very interesting because I haven't really looked at that side of the analytics in a while, but you could use a lot of things you learn there about who your audience is and then bring it over to your advertisement, and maybe target to people that are more likely to buy your product. Like in our case, I just pulled up the analytics that Chris showed me, and I think 80% of our viewers were women. And then, so on the ad side, I could target it just to women, and that might, make our advertising dollars go a little further. But there's a lot of different things you can do with that. But in any case, you can see which ones are working on here. So this is the analytics I look at, is to see either how many clicks. So if I've made an ad and it says there's a button on it, learn more, I can see how many people click that button from that ad. Or mostly what I do now is it can actually track, you can communicate with our website and see who's bought something from looking at the ad. So it's going to tell me how many purchases came from a particular ad, and that's in the, I don't know how well y'all can see this up here, but one of those website purchases on the right there. So that shows for each ad how many purchases came from it. So you can see how much, we spent in the front. And it's kind of shocking to myself how much money we are spending on advertising. I wish we didn't have to spend that money, but I guess ultimately what I'm finding is, it's saving me time and it's working. So that's been a big revelation for us using social media and advertising in the past couple of years, and really this year honing in on finding, I think, you can see one there that says we spent $800 on that one ad. So that was, I think that was the ad in the previous page. And what happened was it was working. So I put it up there and I saw every $10 that we spent, we got a sale. So you can see in the right column there, we sold 89. We had 89 purchases from that ad. So it's about exactly every $10 spent resulted in a sale. If you go to the next page, let's see. So that's that specific ad, and it'll break that down for you, cost per result, either depending on what you're tracking, per purchase or per click. And go to the next page. I'll show you. This is from my website analytics. And one of the things it tells me is the lifetime customer value. And you can see, so our average sale is only about a little over $20, which would make paying $10 per sale not a great deal. But what we're selling is mostly subscriptions. So people sign up to get a bouquet every week. So that's what I'm selling in that ad. So they stay subscribed long enough to spend $145. So that's for every $10 I'm spending, I'm making a sale of $145. So that's, to me, a pretty good return on the investment. $10 to get a $145 sale. That's better than what you're going to spend on a farmer's market booth fee as a ratio of your total sales.
Awesome.
Is that the last slide there? Is that it? I don't remember.
That's it.
Thank you so much, Charlie.
Yeah,
that's super important. Thank you for getting into the nitty gritty of that. We're running a little low on time, but I want to give Briar an opportunity to talk a little bit about her experience with ads, specifically with the Federation. While I'm doing that, if the other panelists, if you can drop all of your social media handles, any free resources that you have links to, drop that in the chat for all of the attendees. And then we will let Briar, if you don't mind finishing us off for maybe a couple minutes and just tell us about your experience specifically with the Federation with advertisement.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. So just quickly, just to kind of piggyback off of what the other panelists were saying, a lot of times content that you're going to post, it isn't going to be hitting the nail every single time. A lot of farmers that I've worked with really don't use social media, or if they do, they use Facebook. And so maybe they have, or maybe they don't realize that they maybe need to hire someone who's going to be able to be on the farm with them as a volunteer, or even a paid consultant or someone that they pay to just come take photos of my farm, my produce, and the things that I'm wanting to market. Because it's important to be consistent and have that content. So if you are not able to, as a really, really busy farmer, one of my tips, I recommend that you seek a volunteer or someone who can help you generate that content. But of course, farmers, because it's so interactive, what they're doing you can, take those photos yourself and have a great story behind each one, whether it's something simple or not, making sure that you have the story for it. But when it comes to analytics, I like to kind of engage on the metric side of things. And so understanding that most business owners and farmers, it depends on what your, and this is really getting in the weeds, but it depends on what your key performance indicators are. So it depends on what you value. You don't necessarily have to see every piece of analytics as something that's valuable to one of your goals. So if you want to, for example, with the organization I work for, we're definitely more focused on community engagement and brand awareness or brand audience. And those are some of the metrics that people look at. But let's see. So I'll go to our post, and you can actually click here from the likes, and you can scroll and see which metric makes the most sense for your goals and what you want to see. So with brand audience, you're focused on mentions, followers, shares, and engagement rate. So let's say we go to shares, and we can kind of get a better picture of some of the content that people like to share, or the most shares. So obviously, we know that people really enjoy webinars. They want to know information about how they can engage with the farmer community and how they can engage with other people that enjoy farming or advocacy work. So that was just a little bit about that. So you can kind of toggle around and see which metrics make the most sense for you. So if you want to focus on followers, which is another really important performance indicator for us, and you can see how many followers you've gained throughout each post, if that makes sense. And just as Chris was alluding to, you can see at the very top there for the month, you can see how you're performing. So I'm just gonna kind of get out of that. So I'm not too far in the weeds, but I did want to kind of leave you guys with a few tips in terms of sort of using social media, because like I said, not every post that you make is going to be something that's worthy of an awe moment, but there are spaces throughout social media where they may be useful, like Charlie was mentioning, your stories, or they can be fillers. I like to call them social media fillers. So those posts that you think may not work really well for engagement, they may be useful to just be there so that you're consistent. And then that kind of ties me into my tip on quantity over quality. You don't want to use too many fillers or just like random posts that maybe don't make sense. I recommend that you make sure that it's specific to what you're doing, but also set a time. And this is also getting in the weeds, but it goes back to your social media strategy. I recommend anyone who's taking on social media have a social media plan and a social media strategy. And that involves, I'll just give you the steps that's involved in social media strategy, but it's going to be research first. You want to set your goals and objectives. Then you want to look at the tactics or how you're going to take it on, and your strategy or how you're going to do this every week and be consistent. And then you want to look at your budget and timeline. And then you'll focus on the reporting and evaluation. So for many farmers, that may look like how many website clicks or traffic did we get from social media use this month. Charlie really got into that, and also Chris did also. So you really want to plan. That's what I recommend in terms of saving time. And there are other tools that you can utilize to help you plan or schedule posts ahead of time. If you know you're not going to have time, you can schedule your posts. And there are a few, I guess, software systems that I recommend, but it's a bit pricey. So I would recommend you kind of budget for that. But Sprout Social is pretty cool. It may be a bit complex though. Hootsuite seems to be a little bit easier, and Planoly. So I can put my information in the chat, and I can, give a bit more information about those. But finally, I would say, where was I? Oh, I wanted to go back to how many times per week. So it really just depends on what you have time for. Whatever works for you so you can be consistent. So if that means posting 4 times a week on one platform, Instagram, posting twice a week on Facebook, or if you're using Facebook specifically for sales and marketing, I recommend you obviously spend more time on Facebook than any other platform. So that's just a very brief tie-in there.
Thank you so much. I just want to quickly shout out all of our amazing panelists. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us. Also, thank you for being transparent. A lot of people don't want to share some of these details about their business and how they run it. So I want to majorly thank you for being so transparent for everyone in this session. I want to thank everyone for attending. I want to thank Hannah for being an incredible moderator, and for Sav for keeping everything going smoothly. So I'm going to pass it over to Sav.
Yes, just got to echo this. Wow, what a panel. For real, I've learned so much already, and definitely going to be using some things later today. So thank y'all. Thank you to everyone who came. Really appreciate your attendance. Hope that you're down to come to some other sessions throughout the forum. Check out our schedule. And if you can and are able, consider joining ASAN. We're a membership-based organization. Becoming a member that allows you to support our network and support our mission of strengthening our local food system. So I'll send the link for that in the chat. And then lastly, we want to make sure that your feedback is taken into account. So we have a very, very quick, easy poll just to make sure that you're happy with how everything went. If you're not, we would love to have your feedback. So feel free to message me in the chat if you have any additional feedback, and we're happy to include that. So we'll launch this poll. Hope that you're able to use it, and hope that y'all enjoyed our session. Thanks again to our panelists, and we hope to see you sometime here in the next 7 days or so. So thank y'all so much, and enjoy the rest of your Saturdays.
Thanks a lot. I'm going to get off Hannah and Sav. I've got to
Thank
go buy a
you.
car.
All right.
Bye,
Good luck.
everybody.
Bye, everyone.